All right, everybody. We are here today with Gabe from Spotless Window Cleaning. I just want to say thank you, Gabe, for your time. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, Daniel. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I was gonna ask, where where are you guys located?
So we're in Tucson, Arizona. So we're
Okay.
southwest area. We got desert here. It's nice and hot. We had a string. I think it was like 40 days of over 100. I mean, it's been a rough summer.
Yeah, no, I'm originally from California. I moved to
Okay.
Charlotte about 2 years ago, but I
Got
know
it.
Arizona like the back of my hand. I grew up going
Okay,
to
good.
the river, Havas like all the time. So
Yeah, yeah.
Arizona, beautiful. Scottsdale, everyone from
Oh, Scottsdale is
California.
not Arizona. That doesn't count.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. It's not.
We're all jealous of Scottsdale, so we always rag on them.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I was because honestly, you caught my eye a while ago, like your social media, like your brand is very good. Like
Oh,
my
thanks.
background before I launched the exterior clean company is marketing, and you really brand yourself super strong. And like
Oh, thanks,
it
man.
stood out to me, and I think you do an excellent job. So do you guys do you guys specialize in window cleaning, or do you guys do other services, or strictly
we
window
we
cleaning?
do have other services. We do gutter cleaning, we
Okay.
do scratch removal, pressure washing, kind of those types of services. But we're no, our window cleaning is our main service. Our
Okay.
we focus on residential window cleaning, although we do commercial. So all the other service are more like ancillary. We they're add-on. So we will once in a while, but we'll rarely get a call like just for gutter cleaning. It's
Gotcha.
usually, oh, can you do the windows? And while you're here, can you clean our gutters too? During we have monsoon rains real bad. I don't know if you got them out in California, but in Arizona, they're just really strong. It's like a bunch of rain all at once in a period of 20 minutes. So
Mm,
a lot of times that overcomes the gutter. So once we get
okay.
into our slow season, which is what we call it for windows, we start really pushing the gutter cleaning because people, they haven't touched it all year.
Right.
It's got mesquite pods in it. It's got, all kinds of stuff, sticks and branches. So we want to clear those out. So when those rains come, it doesn't overwhelm the gutter, and then you have issues like roof damage or
Right.
siding damage and all that. So yeah, that's kind of what we do.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. And how big is your team? Like, and how many trucks do you guys have?
Well, we have 4 trucks and one kind of extra, like an overflow vehicle, just in case one of the trucks is down and we need it, or if we're in our busy season and we actually need the extra truck, extra vehicle, we've got it. It's not the last one is not it's not wrapped or anything. It's just a plain vehicle, but it's transportation if we need it. It's just one of those old Bessie type cars that we
Gotcha.
have there. But we normally run about 4 to 5 techs. But in our busy season, we can get up to 6 or 7. I might hire, seasonal workers. But right now we're down to 3. We've got 3 techs, and I'm starting to hire because October is our busy season. So I
Mm,
want to start getting people in the system now so that they're ready once our busy season comes. Although right now, man, we've gotten a ton of calls for big commercial jobs just out of the blue.
oh, really?
We've got a bunch of those coming up. We've already done like 4 buildings, and we've got a bunch more in September. So I'm starting to hire now. Hopefully, we can get some good guys coming in.
Oh, awesome. What would you say your secret sauce of retainment? Because I talk to guys literally throughout the whole
Yeah,
country from in the home service space, and it seems like the biggest trouble in the
yeah,
industry is keeping employees. Like,
it
what
is.
do you guys do at your company? You think maybe a little unique or different just to retain
Well,
employees?
I think more so. It's not so much what we do as much as the culture of the business.
Mm,
I I think there's a lot of different ways you can run your business, and there's definitely a business model that involves kind of a continual rotation of new employees. I personally don't like that one. It's just not because it's bad. It just doesn't fit my personality. I think the biggest thing that we try to do is to make sure that the business is meeting the needs of the employee. I think it's very easy as a business owner to fall into the trap of just thinking of your employees as just cogs in the machine of your business functioning. But if I write for the American Window Cleaner magazine. I wrote an article years ago. It was called "Your Business is a Tree," and that's really the philosophy that I run my business. Meaning that yeah, my business is here, but I'm not the only one who gets the fruit of the tree. Right? It branches out. The neighbors will get part of the shade. They may even get some of the fruit if it goes over onto their land. You got bugs and birds and animals living in the tree and benefiting from it. Under the ground, it's making the soil better for all the other plants around it. And that's how I view my business. Is it's not just my business. The business itself is its own entity. It's a tree, and it supports our local business here, helps our employees support their families, the vendors that we buy equipment from, or rental places that we buy from, or other supplies. Our service that we offer to our community doesn't just benefit me personally. So when I hire, what I'm looking for is not just an employee. I want a fellow caretaker of the tree. In other words, someone who understands that the tree has value both to them and to others. And if they buy into that concept, now they feel like they're a part of the business, as opposed to just a replaceable employee that may be here for 3 months and then they get a job offer that's 50 cents more an hour and they jump to that. Yeah. So if we can get people to buy into that concept, then they become, and I hate to say it because it's such a cliche and a lot of people use it improperly, but we do try to become like a family where I try to make sure that the employees know I have their best interests at heart, both in the sense that I'm not going to make them do anything that they feel unsafe. I'm not going to make them work more hours and try to take them away from their family. I'm not going to do anything that will be detrimental to them. Although I do expect hard work in return, and I expect quality work, and I expect them to give their all to the company in the sense, in the framework of being an employee. But I try to incentivize their service in ways that benefits them. So for instance, we had one guy who wanted to be an electrician. That's what he wanted to do, but he was a really good window cleaner. So we worked his schedule around his schooling to become an electrician. And then just slowly, as he became more busy, we cut back hours, and he was literally working 1 day a week with us just because he wanted to have the money, until he finally was able to go and get a job as an electrician, make the money he needed to make. So we felt that flexibility was one of the benefits we offered to him, as opposed to other places where they might say, no, this is a full-time job. If you can't work it, get out of here. So to him, that's what was important, was the flexibility. So we offered that flexibility as a benefit because that's what he needed to pursue his passion. So that's what we try. I really try to find out, what is your passion? What things are important to you? We have people who do a lot of volunteer work, so that's their passion. All right, well, if that means you only work 3 days a week, that's okay. I would love you to work full time, but hey, if you need to work 3 days because this is what your passion is, you're a great window cleaner, you're a caretaker of the tree, I'm gonna make that arrangement for you. I'm gonna be flexible for you. We had another guy who wanted to start his own business, and he, I'm willing to mentor as long as they're upfront with me on that. And so one of the gifts I gave him when he left was a $500 gift card to buy equipment for his business.
Wow.
So nice. If people feel that I'm not just here to suck their skill and put it into the business, but instead we're here to mutually benefit from each other's skills and each other's situation, that they're more inclined to stick with me. Even if maybe they may get a better paying job offer somewhere, they like the culture here. They like the fact that they're valued, and hopefully that helps them stick around for the long haul.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's awesome how how much attention you put in them, because at the end of the day, I always like to say we're partners. Like I can't run without them, they can't run without me. It's a partnership. What would you say as far as, and of course, besides that, lead gen is one thing that, well, and I see you've been in the business a long time, I think like around 20 years or so. So
yeah, 23 years.
That's awesome. You got the magic sauce then, because it seems like a lot of guys, new guys or even guys who've been in the business a while, when that lead gen just slows down or stops, it's like
Yeah.
they quit the business, or I know so many guys who end up working for a different cleaning company. I know a ton of guys that
Yeah.
did that. What has been your
If I
magic
could just
sauce?
tell you how much batches of equipment I've bought from guys who were in it for 3 years, had all of this stuff, and now they just need to unload it. And I just like buy this lot for like, 10% of what it's worth because they just need to get rid of their equipment. Yeah. Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't interrupt the question.
Oh, no, no. I was gonna ask, what has been your secret sauce of lasting 23 years? Because it seems like as you know, business is hard. Like, and I always preach to people like if you go on YouTube or just go to any of these, it's always like the sexy, be your own boss, make six figures, like don't have, I'm like, all that stuff is good, but they don't tell you about the reality. The reality is
Yeah,
there's days, you're not going to make money. You do
absolutely.
have bosses. Your bosses are
Absolutely.
clients. You
Yep.
got to make them happy. So, and you've been obviously 23 years. I mean, you've
Yeah.
been doing something right. Like, what, as far as marketing or just being as long as you have, what has been,
Yeah.
you think, the difference maker from what you've been doing versus guys who just 3, 5 years, they just can't handle it?
Well, I think you hit it right on the head, Daniel. I don't think people go into the business nowadays with the understanding of what it takes to build a business. Because just as if you say, "Hey, I want to build a house," you don't just show up in a week and there's a house, right? There's a process to the building. You got to lay the foundation. Well, first you got to get the plans written up, right?
Right.
And then you got to get everything approved, and you got to get the permits, and you got to get all this. So that's a ton of work you're doing that nobody sees before you even put a shovel to the dirt. Then you got to lay the foundation for it, and then you got to put the framework up, and then you've got all the electric and the plumbing and everything else that goes into it. And then you got the roof, and then finally, probably a year down the road, you've got a house. And you just what you said, man, that is like my biggest pet peeve right now. Is now I don't mind the training stuff. Okay, there's a lot of training videos out there that are
Yeah,
awesome, and they're going to teach you how to be a better fanner. They're going to teach you how to be a better businessman, and there's a ton of podcasts that I listen to that I totally love.
me too.
But there's a TikTok culture of, hey, go out to Home Depot, buy a squeegee and a T-bar, and go knock on some doors, and you're going to be making $100,000 a year.
Oh yeah.
And that gets under my skin because, can you be successful doing door to door? Absolutely. You can absolutely do that, but it's not going to be overnight. And I don't think they properly sell the ups and downs that naturally come with business ownership. And so you get a bunch of these young guys with, dollar signs in their eyes. And they got all these plans. It's going to work because this guy's done it for however long. And they come in and they first of all, it's wasteful, right? So door to door, if you're not retaining customers from door to door sales, you're throwing money out the window because it's so expensive time wise, not even just money wise, to get a new customer. So what the fault is they're not telling people to perfect their craft before they do it. So they're buying a water fed system, they're coming in, they really don't have proper training on how to do water fed, so they're doing a horrible job. They slap it in, so yeah, they made $200 an hour on that one job, but is that customer ever going to call them back again? No, they've lost that customer because they didn't do a good job. The person's going to feel ripped off because they were in and out in an hour, and they're going to be like, I could have done that. Why would I pay $200 for this, this kid to come and do this when I didn't get what I want? So now coming from my side, of course, I'm like pre-Facebook, pre-YouTube even. I had no idea how to learn how to do Windows. I bought some small accounts from a guy who was just kind of dumping on me, wasn't worth his time anymore. And he gave me some equipment. He gave me 2 hours of training, and that's it. Now, he was a good trainer, don't get me wrong. And he helped me out, as I went along if I had questions. But I had to learn so much on my own, just by doing the reps, making the mistakes, figuring out how to correct them. But the thing I did that I think is lacking in a lot of these new people is when I started, because I started with commercial, which, commercial is not, you don't have to be as detailed,
Right.
you make a
Absolutely.
mistake, it's, no one's going to call
Yeah.
you out.
Yeah.
But when I went to residential, so I did commercial for probably about 6 months before I crossed over into residential. So there, as there's a big difference between commercial and residential windows, right?
Huge.
As far as quality, and you
Oh
have to
yeah.
be careful about the customer's interior.
Oh yeah.
You're dealing with screens now, and there's a million different types of screens. All of them come out different ways. You got
Expensive things in the home. Yeah.
expensive things. You're dealing with privacy issues. You're dealing with trust issues. I mean, it's just exponentially more things you have to keep in mind
Right.
when you do that. So I start off first 6 months honing my technical skills in commercial. And then it took another 6 months of me doing the residential, because I advertised in a small community that was where I lived, or near where I lived, that really window cleaners didn't come out. So my timing was really good. But when I went in there, I told them, I was honest with them right up. And I said, hey, I'm a new window cleaner. I've been doing this about 6 months. I'm still learning. If you're willing to give me a chance, I'm willing to give you a break on the price. Just, let me try it out. If you're happy with me, call me back. If you're not, I get it, but I'm trying to start my business. And I think that honesty helped me out so much when I was first learning, because it gave me some grace in the eyes of the customer, because I was straight up with them. I didn't come in pretending that I'm a professional and that I know everything and that I'm going to charge them, this huge amount. And because I earned their trust over time, by the time I actually was a good window cleaner, that I had kind of earned my stripes, so to speak, and got the experience and got the reps in. Now, when I felt that I could charge more for my work, I felt confidence behind it. But throughout the entire thing, and this is the number one thing I tell people when they're starting out, if you don't have good customer service, meaning if you don't know how to take care of the customer's needs, communicate with them, listen to them, and be responsive to their concerns, you're gonna fall flat on your face. That's what saved me, because even when I didn't do a good job, or I messed up something, or I didn't put the screen in right, and they called me back, I came back with good service, right? I guaranteed my work. I stayed there until I figured it out. I made sure they were taken care of, and that's what they appreciate. That's why they call me back, because they saw I cared, and they knew that I had good customer service. So that's honestly why I survived, is because even if I didn't promise to be perfect, I promised to make it right. And when I came back on those mistakes, boy, there's nothing like learning a lesson when you got to drive 30 minutes to come and reclean one window that you missed, right?
I've done it. Trust me,
And
I've done
so
it.
yeah, everybody has, and that's how you learn. But if you start off and you just think you're going to go right into it, and this whole concept of window cleaning is just easy, you just pick up
No,
and do it. That's
that's
why kids burn out, right? Because they're disillusioned, because they were fooled into thinking that anybody could pick up a squeegee, learn how to clean, or buy a water fit system and rush the brush on some windows, and it's going to be magically cleaned. And then, like what you said, all the work that goes in that you don't get paid for, after doing your taxes, getting your books in order, making at the advertise, everything that's in the background that nobody sees.
oh yeah.
That's time, and your time is money. So that time has to be factored in whatever you make on that job, right?
Oh yeah.
So
And something like this is what I've noticed. It's much easier for window cleaners to go into pressure washing, but pressure washers, it's very hard for them to get a window clean because because we specialize. I started with window cleaning. That was my number one. Then we just got into gutter cleaning, pressure
yeah,
washing. But window cleaning, you have to be so meticulous because, as you know, I'm guilty of this. I've had drops on the windows. I get that call back. Hey, and same thing, 45 minutes away for one window. We drive back. With window cleaning, you got to be literally perfect.
and there's so many little things that you don't even think about that can mess it up. Like you put the
Oh,
screen in, and
yeah.
there's some water in the track, and it splashes up that
Oh,
you
yeah.
won't ever see, right? Or your towel, you finished detailing and you went like that, and this little strip went and right across and left a
Yep.
line. I mean, there's a
Oh,
tons of things that you don't know until you know, right? And that's where the experience comes in. And once you make those mistakes and you have to, like you said, you have to take the trip back, the 45-minute trip, then you learn, oh, I'm not doing that again. I know exactly what I did there. And that's the stuff you just can't know until you get the reps. So I always say, like, man, if you can work somewhere first, like for a year,
Yeah.
and just get reps and still get a paycheck, obviously it's hard if you're trying to work for someone in your area, they may not be comfortable with you starting your own business and being a competitor. I get that. I'm very open with that. If they're open with me and they want to start, I'm like, hey, I'll train you. You just got to sign a non-compete with my customers.
Yeah.
But I'll help you get off the ground.
And I've done the same thing. They had
Yeah.
to sign same exact thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's window. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like so many guys I know who do pressure washing, they'll attempt window clean, and then literally like 2 months later, I'm good, man. I'm not gonna like because a lot of like where I'm at in Charlotte, they feed me so many window cleaning jobs
Yeah.
because they don't want to touch it, and then a lot of the time they'll be like, oh, we do exterior windows, right? But then the problem is when the houses have screens, they don't want to touch the screens. And as we know, if you want to clean that glass, there's two ways technically you could do it. You take it out, manually, or there's some guys, what they'll do is use the water fed, then they'll go to the inside of the house, pull the window back, clean it like that. So yeah, window clean. And as far as clientele, I
Yeah.
found they're the strictest clients by far. Gutter cleaning are my best clients, right? You're just remove. I mean, we use different methods. I have the Skyvax. We do it by hand. Pressure washing. Those clients are easier. Window cleaning by far. At least for us, the strictest clientele because you literally got to be perfect.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, you're in their home, they're looking out their window, and I think it is even compounded with COVID because so many more people were working from their home. They notice those things, and you get those customers who are like, man, if this window isn't clean, it bugs me all day long. Every time I look in that direction, I see those spots. So yeah, you do have to be. And I will just say, we're relatively new to pressure washing. So I want to acknowledge there is definitely some challenges to that.
Oh yeah.
I'm fortunate to have some guys on the crew who are experienced with that. So I really rely on their expertise on that. But yeah, as far as being detailed, the need to be detailed is much, I would compare it to a painter of a house to an artist, right? I mean, the artist, if you're going to sell a painting, you can't just do a bunch of broad strokes. You have to really be detailed to bring it out and have your art come across to the person who's looking at it. And I think that's the same thing with window cleaning. People think it's a broad stroke job, that it's easy. They just see people going across like that and they think the window's clean. But when you're in it and when you care about the quality of your work, you recognize that it's so much more involved. I'm in the midst of hiring, like I mentioned, and I dread it because I have the eternal conversation with people. I need you to be a professional window cleaner. What do you mean professional? What do you need to know about it? There's nothing to know, right? And then you're like, yes, there is. There's a lot more to just clean windows and using a squeegee. And, so it's just to convey that is not adequate enough. You just have to do it. And thankfully, we have the customers who recognize our skill and our customer service and our quality. And that's why they keep coming back to us. And that's part of the longevity that you mentioned.
Do you guys offer maintenance plans?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we have quarterly packages. So basically, if someone's willing to have us come every 3 months, we give them a free cleaning. Basically, it's 25% off. So because if we out here in the desert, we get like a buildup on the glass that comes from our dirt, and if we stay up on it, then it stays off. If we clean every 3 months, then we can just fly through that house. So that's an incentive. But the caveat is they have to pay for those cleanings up front. So and that just ensures that we have the money, that they are going to stay with us those 3, and then we schedule out the jobs. So it works pretty well. They like it a lot. The customers like it. And it makes those harder jobs easier because we're always there, so we get our route, we get our little routine. The windows are never that bad. The tracks are really clean, because we're always on it.
Do you
So we
guys
just
do you guys usually is that usually like an interior and exterior, like a full package, track sills?
we have four packages. We have exterior only. Now so we have two types of packages. We have the single clean package, and then we have the quarterly package. So
Gotcha.
the single clean package, we have exterior only, a basic, which means it's like a maintenance clean. We're just worried about the glass. Like we're not worried about anything else. Then deluxe, which includes the cleaning of the screens with soap and water, and then our premium, which also all those things plus the tracks, detailing soap and water, vacuum, and then the frames of the glass. So any of those packages, if they want to do 4 in a year, we give them a 25% discount.
Oh,
So,
that's great.
so some of them will do just 4 exteriors, which is fine. Some will do 4 basics. Very rare do we get 4 premiums because there's really not a need for it, but we do
Yeah.
have some of those too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
those are good money.
Yeah, and that's something too, like I'm so, just laying down expectations because especially when they're clean, when there's tracks, when they're frames, because when they say, "Hey, I need a window clean," there's so many people. Okay, and then they just clean the glass, and then they're like, "Hey, how about the tracks? How
What
about
about
the
this? What about
screen?"
that? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So like, yeah, and we have the same thing, pretty
Yeah.
much identical to you
And
guys. Just
that goes with customer service too. You have to, like you said, manage expectations. And so you have to be clear to the customer what you offer, what they're paying for. I know when we first started the packages, we did get some of that confusion where we were selling a basic package, but they were expecting us to do
yeah.
the tracks because in their mind, you clean the window, the tracks are part of the window, right?
Oh,
So we had to kind of learn how to communicate adequately to the customer to understand, okay, we'll do the basic. That's our less expensive in and out, package. But just so you know, the reason why it's less is because we're not doing the tracks, which is very time consuming.
oh
So
yeah.
as long as you're okay with that, hey, you'll get the better price. And now we rarely have that confusion.
Yeah.
We're now most people are very clear and understand when we get there what we're supposed to be doing.
Right. Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
What has been your best marketing? Because like for us, I mean, when I started, I wanted to try the whole door-to-door yard signs, door hangers. I'll be honest, and that did not work for us at all.
Yeah.
Honestly, now it's all been paid ads, like which unfortunately and referrals, of course, but you know, man, I feel like definitely paid ads are it's not fun because
Yeah.
overhead and
Well,
everything.
I
But
will say that there is a certain type of business owner who is like a salesman at heart, who
mhm,
do really well with the door knocking and do really well with the leaving the door
I
hangers
did
and
not.
sign, and they do really well. But I think you have to be a certain personality that I don't have.
Okay.
I'll do door knocking when when we're really, really slow.
Yeah.
And I'll just pay my guys, hey guys, here's some flyers, here's this. Let's go. If you get a job today, I'll give you $20, bonus or whatever. I'll
Mhm.
buy you lunch, something like that. But then if we get work, we'll go do the job. But I rarely have to do that anymore. Now so much, we've kind of grown that it's rare that we have to get to that. So I would break it into 2 categories for as far as marketing that's worked for me. When you're by yourself, when you're a sole proprietor, or maybe you just have one guy with you, I think more important is just getting your social or your online presence in order. I can't tell you how many, because I do a lot of mentoring with new business owners, or at least business owners who are wanting to get to the next level. And I can't tell you, I rarely find somebody who has all of their online presence in order, meaning they've gone to all of the like you said, the app places, right? Nextdoor,
Mhm.
Yelp, Angie's List, Home Advisor,
Craigslist.
whatever, all of
Yeah.
those things, and consistently got their branding and got their hours and got their phone numbers and their emails and everything in order. And then you got to go to all the other things like City Search and yellowpages.com and all these other little smaller sites that they profit off of people searching
Mhm.
for a company. Because when you're starting off and you're small, you're not going to come up typically on the Google search, right? Your page isn't going to come up. It's going to be one of those sites. So however the customer comes upon you, you want to make sure whatever they see looks legit and is consistent, right? And I'll do a search for these newer companies, and I'll find these sites, and it's like the name's wrong, the address is wrong, the phone number is wrong, or the hours are weird, or it looks like it's untouched, which just screams unprofessionalism, right? And I tell them that the reason why it's important is because if you're not known, if you don't have a reputation in your community yet, they're going to be unsure from you, and rightfully so, right? They don't know who you are. They've never used you. So they got to base it on your reviews. So if you don't have, maybe you only have 15 Google reviews on your site. So they're going to say, well, that's good. They've got a 5-star rating, but only 15. Let me just look them on the internet. So they're going to search your name. If they go and search and everywhere they find you, it's the same, it's consistent, that shows professionalism. That shows that you've done the work to make your, like you mentioned earlier, branding. You've branded your company as a professional company, and that you've taken the time. So that tells that even if it's subconsciously, hey, this is a professional company, and I'm willing to give them a chance now. The second part on that is getting your reviews up. So just asking all of your customers. If you don't have 50 reviews on Google, you're going to have a struggle competing with some of the other companies. So not 50 is like a magic number, but it's just it's a substantial number. There's going to be a ton of businesses that are going to have under 20 reviews. If you have 50, that bumps you up above kind of the everyday companies, right? So call your customers. If you give really good service and you've got a good relationship with your clients, they're going to be more than happy to leave a review, but they often don't know, or they don't think about it, or they forget. So when I was first starting out, I would have my app open. I would show them, hey, can I help you get to this page so you can leave a review for me? And again, I would only do that with the customers who I had a rapport with, not someone who was new. And they would be more than happy. Go to their phone, I'd help them, and then they'd leave a review for me. And I just wanted to get up to 50. And once you kind of stand out from the bottom level competitors, speaking of Google reviews, I mean,
Right,
not
right.
just
Yeah.
then now it's going to be easier for you to stand out amongst people who are searching for you. Now, once you become established, then your marketing changes, right? And now it's more of a branding thing, and now it's more of an eyeball thing. So I do really well with Facebook ads. I do really well with Google ads. I do well with, of course, referrals, like you mentioned. I think that's the most important,
Yeah.
because that says a lot about, those referrals, you close a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
And we hire a company to do that. You don't have to hire a company, but just for us, it just makes sense, because that we don't have to worry about it. It's hands off for us, and we know the ads are going to be out there. We know that it's going to reach the clientele that we have, and it's been effective. They're the ones who monitor what's working and what's not, but you can't really afford that until you get to a certain stature and a certain income, where now it makes sense financially to invest in something like that. But yeah, you can spend, $2,000 to $2,500 a month on that type of marketing, and you'll get your ROI for sure. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, and yeah, I spend it definitely, and I've realized when I don't, the numbers drop like
Yeah,
big time.
yeah.
And so and I was just gonna say, like, just the last thing, and I do appreciate you. Kind of last tips or tricks for someone viewing this, either a new entrepreneur in the home service space, or someone that's just struggling, last thing of motivation.
Yeah, yeah. So I well, a couple tips. So one, I always, when you're starting out, if you're a new entrepreneur, I always recommend having another job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true, you're not going to get paid as much on that job as your new business, but your new business is going to be so up and down. It's just nice to have something steady on the side
Oh yeah.
until this side, instead of like this, it's more like this. Once it's like this, then you're kind of safer to make this your main income. So many guys just jump into this new business and they just ride this wave, and it is just terrifying. And that's going to wear you out, So just have a normal side job, or part-time job, and then use the other rest of your time to grow your business. That's less of a calendar you're going to have to fill, so the pressure is not going to be so much, as far as I don't have work. When your whole calendar is empty and you need got to pay your mortgage, that's really stressful.
Yeah.
But if you got a part-time job that is going to pay most of your bills, then this is just gravy, right? And you can do that. So that's the first bit of advice. The second is I really highly recommend getting a mentor, touching base with someone who you can talk to. I'm part of IWCA. If you join the IWCA, you have access to a ton of people who can be your mentors. And the reason why that's important is because they're kind of your touchstone, right? They've been where you are. And so when you're freaking out and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't know how I'm going to feed, they can just tell you, hey, calm down, calm down. Let's look at your situation. This is where you're at. This is where you were a month ago. What were you a year ago? Is this kind of consistent with your levels in your area? If that means it's consistent, then how'd you do the next month last year? Oh, look, the last year, your next month was this big. You can probably expect that growth. They can kind of talk you down from the ledge, so to speak, and because they have the maturity, they have the experience. They can also offer tips on things you do to kind of wake up the customers in your area and find work. And so having that that steady-minded person that you can go to who's been there can alleviate a lot of the anxiety and stress that comes from being a business owner when you just have, it's all new to you. You're just you're so panicked. It just kind of helps to give you someone you can bounce stuff off of and make that transition from employee to entrepreneur a little less bumpy, and a little easier to deal with. But just hang in there, man. If you're serious about being an entrepreneur and being a business owner, just accept the fact you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to struggle. You're going to have disappointments. You're going to have losses. That's all of us have. No one has a linear growth, right? No one does. Everyone goes up and down. So just accept that, enjoy it, and then when you're higher up than you were, then you can celebrate those small victories. That's my advice for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Gabe. I'm gonna leave your information at the bottom. It was awesome chatting with you, and I really appreciate your time and all the feedback and knowledge.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's been nice talking with you, and also love seeing you on Instagram and social media.
All right, man. Thank you. You have a wonderful night.
All right, you too.
All right. Bye.